Welcome back. For me, it's been a couple days, which is good. 'Cause I needed the break. Alright. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to work on this surrounding piece here that enclases this. And then the next section we'll work on this piece. But we're just going to work on just this piece for right now. And my cat's going to be here in the way and everything. So for this next section, what you want to make sure is your knife is pretty good and pretty sharp. I've used this for several things, not just this project. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this blade around and have myself a good one. Alright. So what we're going to do here is we're going to mark out 7.5 inches up on a brand new sheet of foam board, 7.5 inches up, 5 inches wide. And this being a 30 by 20, we easily get the 4 pieces we need. And also, what we're going to do here is I spaced out a 5 by 5 piece. I'm probably not going to need 2 of these. I might not even need those 2. But that's there just in case. And then the last little one we're going to do is this piece here, and that's a 3.5 by 5 inch piece. This we're not going to use on our thing. This is more of our template to make the cutout part. So I already marked mine. You can go ahead and mark yours, pause this if you need to. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this out. And at least for this part, we're going to need just one of these pieces here. I'm going to set that aside for now. And so to make this a little easier on me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a half cut so we can fold it just like we did our main piece. So I'm not going to cut all the way through, just that little edge and that tiny bit of foam, just enough to make the fold itself. So we'll have our little box, which is going to be really nice. Alright. So now, the next thing we're going to do, if you cut this, or if you measured it, with the additional 3 boxes, you'll have this little tiny sliver left over. And I'm going to use that for this next part. And so you'll see what this next part is going to be for. Alright. Let me figure out something really quick. My door's knocking, and I'll come right back. Okay. So like I was saying, I'm going to use this little piece because it's only like 2 inches, 2.5 inches maybe. I mean, these boards don't really come perfectly aligned. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick one side, probably the straighter side, so the side I did not cut. Which would be this side. And so with this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of position it near about as middle as I can get it. And I'm just going to kind of trace around them. So the reason why you want a really good, sharp, new knife here, because there's going to be quite a little bit of, well, not quite, but there's going to be just a few delicate cuts, and you want to get it right the first time, and all that. So, but this is my marker here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut pretty much straight across this here. Cut that down. It's not what I want to do. Alright. Just to that line. So all you're left is this notch left out. And so that's what you want to do to all four of these. Then we have our little notch cuts. So, next, what we're going to do is we're going to glue this little fella right here in between all of these to give us our box. And again, since each one's cut kind of its own way, you kind of want to just mess around with it a little bit and see which way it's going to fit a little bit better, a little easier. And that way seems to be my best way. Always make sure you got your glue gun ready to go. And if not, you can always plug it in right now. As always, best do your two corners first. Get that glue to sit on those two edges. Take your time with it. If you take your time with it, really try hard to do a good job, this bow is going to work out you really well. you want, you can use a little bit of blue masker's tape, or white. The downside is if you tape these, you have a tendency of peeling the paper back. Unless that's not a really big problem to you, then give it a couple tacks. Wipe your excess glue off. Alright. So with this, I'm just going to add just a little bit more glue just to where it didn't seal up completely. If you wish, you can do the exact same thing onto yours. But that way, that should help hold it just a little bit more. So there we've made our box. So our next thing is you want to take your bow that we've had here, and whichever way you feel comfortable, with it, that's the way we're going to do it. Make sure everything is at an even spot. Alright. So once you've found a fairly even spot here, go ahead and mark on the bow all your places. Excellent. Now on my original one, this piece is a bit smaller. I did it like a 4.5 inch, and that way, if you did it that way, you would cut. It's about a 4.5 inch piece, and you would cut it here instead on these pieces. But I'm kind of going with something a little bit different here. And I think it's going to help lock it in a little bit better for some more movement around, getting bumped in at any kind of conventions or whatnot. Mine's pretty stiff, but my other original one was also doubled around, so it came to about here on mine, and it's doubled up. So, I mean, as you can see, it's twice as thick all around, and this piece goes directly into that shaft. But I mean, it's good, sturdy. But I'm gonna kind of go with this one a little bit better, just because this is a more flimsy plastic or wood. So again, once your marks are made, then you can use that exact same piece that you had before and use it to measure right between there, so you know exactly how much you are cutting out. and I can't express this enough. Make sure you know what direction. Oh. Because as you can see, this one lines up here, but it's not lined up there. So that's the way that is. And since that is labeled front, I will label this T for top. See, again, I try to explain something, and it backfires on me. Alright, and T for top. Should have done that, but again. Alright, so now that you have your marks, go ahead and cut those out. This one I'm going to find a little easier rather than here, because you're going to push down on this, and I mean, you can kind of see that bending in. If you don't have a really sharp knife, you could actually undo your glue that you worked so hard to do. The downside of doing it this way is the glue that you've already had set. Got a little bit of glue there, just so I have a cleaner spot. Cat's chasing all the pieces that I'm throwing down. Okay. Once those are done, go ahead and test again. now we are ready for glue. If you got one of those tiny glue guns, you have to work really fast. Mine's a little bit bigger one. I know they have huge glue guns. I don't do too big of projects. Worry about having massive size glue gun. But I mean, whatever you have, if it works, go with it. And you know, because I have two different foam board pieces, you can tell in the color. This one's the original one from a craft store. This is more of a dollar store version. I was trying to go cheap. Sometimes that could be your downfall. So I am going to be using another one just to fortify that back edge a little bit. It's not necessary, but to me, it almost seems worth it. Nothing worse than having a good costume break on you. Especially when you're looking good, try to show it off. Okay. So there's that back piece there. So now, this is where it gets a little tricky because of the bow system. If you have something to set it on that's a little higher up off the ground, excellent. Excellent. Let's turn this way so you guys can see. Alright, so that same piece, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of position it somewhere in the middle there. Trace around, cut it out both sides. And this will allow you access to the trigger. Now, if it's too big or if it's too small for you, cut it a little wider. Just slowly take a bit off. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm a guy. I have guy hands that are a little bit bigger. But perhaps this size is perfect for an actual girl cosplaying rather than crossplay. But I don't judge. I mean, I crossplay as Kai, and you know, it was really fun. It was only the real second cosplay I ever did. My first one was Pyramid Head. And there's your trigger. So there you are. Again, if it's too small, go ahead and open it up just a little bit more. I kind of like the backing here, giving a certain spot. I wouldn't go any more wider, but that's your call. You can make this as big of a box as you want, but you want to make sure you leave a fair amount for support for the next section. And so on my next video, we'll do the back end and go from there. And you're almost done. So again, thank you for watching and putting up with me and my slight mistakes. And until next time.